Hi guys, I'm Richa. So, can AI help us model the entire universe? Very provocative. Let's actually just deep dive into the man himself, Demis Hassabis. So, Demis Hassabis, obviously in his Nobel lecture, when he received the Nobel Prize for Chemistry, very provocatively said that any pattern that can be found in nature can also be modeled by a classical Turing machine. So, that is kind of goes completely in the face of quantum supremacy, where the quantum computers, the whole position that the physics community has taken for over 20 years, is that you'd have to need like this brute force search for really complex problems like RSA encryption and things like that. When I was introduced to the topic over 10 years ago, I was basically told that you would need like an equivalent of like this many data centers or supercomputers trying to like figure out prime factorization for really large numbers, RSA encryption and things like that. So this is completely like flies in the face of that, where if there is any pattern that has been causal with the help of the causality, being, for example, there is this thing like the survival of stabilists in our universe, where you have a planetary motion that has an actual orbit. You have fossils where like this is an evolutionary process for you to get from our species. You have asteroids. You have like any causality that the forces that have brought its existence to where it is. And if it can be discovered, it can be modeled. And so this also very much kind of ties with P equal to polynomial equal to non-polynomial time Millennium Prize problem, where like the discovery is it equal to the verifiability. So this whole idea that there are so many open problems in the physics, and that physics is like kind of stagnated for the last 50 years, and where we see like the curve going is it's going to be a very fascinating outcome. So one other thing that I was having a long discussion on with a friend of mine. So this like ties into Moravec's paradox and also ties into what makes us human what makes us fundamentally humans. So if you look at human intuition and our prefrontal cortex, we developed our intuition in the plains of Savannah and African plains to hunt for food. It is kind of a miracle that there are scientists like Ed Witten or Freeman or Feynman, which can actually simplify really complex theories that can be proven years later. It is extremely kind of a miracle that in the human mind can extend towards these really precise mathematical models, which actually experimental data years later proves. When you think of really complex problems in string theory or open-ended lambda-fold singularities, normal humans really cannot contend with the idea of those singularities. They cannot contend the idea of fourth dimension. Yet, like physicists really go deep down into, at one point, they were really like convinced that string theory was the most important theory of our time. And so is there a real intersection where, because of our human intuition, doesn't really allow us to map our reality beyond our three-dimensional plane? Can we develop reasoners which are not built with human intuition that can actually do that? So you have like, this is a Calabi-Yau manifold, which is like a 10th dimensional. And so in the contrast of this, I would also like to point out the VU3 as a physics engine. So this is another thing. So there are like learnable systems which are emerging in these video reasoning systems. where if you would look at the game physics engines and things like that, so you would have to program every single thing, the lighting, the forces, the fluid dynamics, and things like that. And it actually just maps it out, even though it breaks down the physics, because it's like there are obviously non-uniformities in that reasoning engine, but it still can do pretty complex reasoning of physics systems on its own. And so this is like a contrast that I wanted to present here. So, okay, so the quest to find move 37 for physics. And this is, so this whole AI has been started, this whole paradigm that we are currently in has been started because of Demis's vision of applying AI to games. And Game of Go has been one of the most complex dimensional games ever created. When we think, but it's complex, it's a really huge search state space, but it's discrete. It's pretty discrete. So AI can like play against itself and actually figure out a move like 37, which no human would ever figure out hundreds of steps earlier. And so it's quite prescient in that. And if you look at the further work from AlphaGo to AlphaFold, where there are over generates over 300 times the possibilities where the protein can fold. And these conformations, we would basically over the time that we would even take to compute one. It's pretty fascinating that the tractable search space because of the free Gibbs energy, that it can actually arrive at something like this AlphaFold moment. Now, because there are obviously like so many open problems that I would talk about, there is containment of plasma, there is obviously Navier-Stokes, which is a Millennium Prize problem. But more or less, like I would want to like talk about like what's happening right now with the Erdos problem that you're probably seeing, and like the symbolic reasoners. So you would have like typically like two types of system. One is like extremely specialized. For I am a gold medal for alpha geometry by Google, which is they basically like create the state space of all the intersections of like geometric, like really specialized, basically search through them. It kind of, if you were to simplify it, it looks like a kind of like a state space, like more program, like compiling, and it just figures out that search more simplistically. But if you look at like the Erdos problem, which are like more combinatorial and more like generalized systems like GPT-5 or Gemini's recent paper at Aletheia proves it. So those are more like they are able to apply chain of thought on really high specialized like they're feeding it with like frontier science and frontier maths, which was developed by Epoch AI here. And these problems are pretty hard, but they have like defined solutions by mathematicians. And if you look at Erdos problems, which are 20th century problems by Erdos, and has been like recently catching a lot of buzz lately because of so to kind of like summarize, these problems are not arguably they are not harder than an IMO problem. It's just these are obscure, and these a lot of solutions that have been done in the literature are not typically digitized. So you do not really have data sets to measure against whether this was a completely novel discovery or it was actually done because of like there was an actual existence solution. So Google's DeepMind team goes deeper into that, where we are typically at a cusp of what is mechanical in automating the scientific discovery and what is human. So now I want to talk more about the human part of it, because that is again a part of my existential crises. Really ties that. Oh, so I made this tweet. It kind of like hit a resonant point in Twitter's timeline. So Einstein wrote field equations in 1915. Schwarzschild found a singularity at r equal to 0 a year later. But for 50 years, the scientific community just like completely discarded it as a perfect artifact of symmetry. They really never assumed that stars would fully collapse. But Roger Penrose in 1965, 50 years later, actually found that this was not just a failure of mass, this was a real physical object, a black hole. So what gives humans this intuition to have conviction in something that converges what their mathematical models are towards the physical reality that is discovered much later? So from the Roger Penrose finding in 1965 and contended the idea that this is a physical object, not a singularity, not a mathematical failure, to actually black hole being imaged much later. And that is what human history has been. We have people who are extremely, like outliers, who are extremely intuitive and can see through things that are like maybe like limits to like normal humans. They apply themselves to and find conviction in ideas that are actually proven with the data that has not been identified by the tools at that time. And so this is also like two of the greats. So these are, I wanted to talk to you about like Newton and Einstein, because these are the two greats in the physics that actually induced the cultural singularity of what you've had at that time. Because before them and after them is a very distinctive reality that existed for engineering, for every single thing that has happened. So Newton was actually able to invent calculus, and Principia of Mathematica is a very revolutionary book in physics. And but for Einstein, he was able to suppress the intuition, like thousands of years of intuition in Euclidean geometry to the Riemann curvature. What made him think that time was relative and speed of the light was absolute? This is a very specific level of human intuition that very few people, once in the centuries, have, that completely changes every single thing. Demis Hassabis is also, so Demis Hassabis is chasing a cultural singularity like this with AGI, but and he contends if Einstein was mass and energy are equivalent, Demis is more is like it's everything is information, and we can actually compute the universe with the tools that we develop. So the open problems, Navier-Stokes, one of the biggest problems. So if you think that there was a more than the atoms that exist in our universe, you would have the state space is for 10 raised to the power 170. Navier-Stokes state space is completely continuous. It's not discrete, and it's infinite dimensional. So to actually find the singular, that is much more harder of like the data sets to curate, and how are we going to go to that. So this is more of like a dream versus like a scientific thought. Not a scientific thought, it's more like a science fiction, two of my favorite things ever. A science fiction and oracle. So we have like two realities, Asimov's last question, which is the machine at the end of the time, and Star Trek or USS Enterprise. And this sort of haunts me. Will the machines we build outlast us? And that's all. Thank you.